Hello everyone, welcome to this episode number 9 of the series Learning Amiga Assembly with Docster. So today we continue with the series. I just need to go to the usual stuff. So, as always, please like and subscribe my YouTube channel. It's the only way I know how to share my videos and make everyone convert to retro. Docster. Anyway, well, you just need the tank at the bottom, some planes passing at the top, and shoot at them. That's all. Come on. Simple game. Nothing spectacular. I remind you that under each window, there is this button more that you can see other links to related to the video or sources. Sources are normally on the Mega shared folder. Shoot ducks. Yeah. Let me read this, guys. Let me do this because so most of the time the files are on Mega. However, we also have my Facebook page where I post most of this stuff. It's my blog, but I also have my Facebook group, which is anything related to Phase 101, and then Commodore Dev, anything related to Commodore. Oh, somebody posted something interesting today. Oh. Okay. Oops. And no messages. Thank God. I also have Telegram. If you want to send me messages, actually this should have come here. Basically, you can send me messages on Facebook. However, I do take my time to reply. But if you send me messages on Discord, normally I reply quickly. I also have Telegram, as I was saying. If you don't like Facebook or Discord, you can always join Telegram. If you want to go that extra mile and support us, there is this, you will unlock 106 development videos related to development, of course, and these are on Patreon and on Ko-fi. They are identical, basically. So guys, we have been busy doing stuff and we have covered all this so far. Today I will try to cover these two, so logical groups and shift and rotate groups. Now, you think you know the end in the 68,000? I am telling you there are some things that you do not know. Okay, same for OR and same for XOR. Okay, and same thing for logical shifts. Okay, so then I will leave bit change and branches last, because branches is quite long. And then after branches, I should be basically done. So 2 or 3 more streams to finish this series. Anyway, so let's jump to the Amiga. So let's start with the end instruction, okay? And I need something else on my display. Yeah, okay. Where is the... Okay, the mouse is here, and I need something else. Which is my notes. Okay, so the end instruction. Most of you that know the 6502 know what the end instruction is and what it does, and that it's mainly used to set a bit either to 1 or to 0. Really? Okay. So I already noticed that I have a typo, and can set a bit to 0 and 1. Anyway, probably it's in all the end instructions, but anyway, I'm writing it in my notes. I will say it. So the end instruction, okay, will always give you a 1 if both sides are a 1, as it will always give you a 0 if both sides are a 0. So I'm starting with the end, so from the end, so that you know it. So the operation works like this. It's destination and with source. Okay, so right to left equals right. Okay, most of the time 68,000 works like that. Okay, in this case, it doesn't matter which side you are, but sometimes it does, especially in compare instructions. So it can work with a data register either in the source or in the destination. And what it does, and the source operand to the destination operand and store the result in the destination location. Okay? And is used to mask bits. If we wish to clear bits 3 to 6 of data register 37, for example, you can execute and that binary number, comma D7. Unfortunately, the AND operation cannot be used with an address register. Most of the time, logical operations do not work with address. I mean, makes sense. No, do not work with address registers as either a source or a destination operand. So you cannot have. This is why I mentioned the data register. You can see that source or destination is always a data register. If you wish to perform a logical operation on an address register, you have to copy the address to a data register and then perform the operation there. So you always have to use a data register. So let's see what it does. So I'm cleaning the registers here. I'm doing that as a precaution more than anything else. And notice I use the move quick instead of clear. I'm changing between one and the other so that you get used to it. So we're moving and always specify this size. Okay, we are moving a word. So 1000 into the 0, 1000 hex. We're moving a word 10ff in the 1, okay, and we're moving that number into the 2. Now notice and dot byte, okay, so we are only working on the byte of these two address registers. So the 0 and the 1, so the 0 and with the 1 and result in the 0, and the 1, okay, we have ff, and it with the 0, we're going to end up with 0 because, you know, they both have to be ones, of course. And dot long d2 comma d1, and notice it's a long. I think I have another mistake in my notes, in my comments basically, which I will fix. And notice, actually no, it's right, it's correct. We end up with 1078. And then dot w did 0 with the 1. So the 1000 and the 1078. And we should end up with 1000. So that's end. The first form of end. Now we have immediate end using the immediate. So move 0 comma the 0. So we are clearing the 0. Now we are I'm setting these in hex, okay, and making an end using hex numbers. So we're moving the 4 ones into the 0, and we're moving we're ending a byte 10 with the 0. So that value, the last nibble, will turn into 0, and as you can see, it became 0. Then we are going to work with word, okay, with the number 1011, and of course we end up with 1010. Now we're going to work on using binary. So I'm moving an F into the 0 as word, okay? So you can see it became 0000 Fs and F, and then we're ending byte with the number 2 into the 0, and that should give us 2. And then we are ending again with 1011 with the 0, and we still end up with 2 because that's the only common factor, common bits that there are. Now, these two instructions, you knew them roughly on the 6502. What's coming is not. So open your eyes. So this one is also immediate. Size can only be byte, okay? And it is ending something against the conditional code register, so against the flags, okay? As always, the operation is CCR and literal, the value that we enter, equals CCR, okay? Description, and the immediate data to the condition code register. which means CCR. CCR equals least significant byte of the status register. And please note, we are playing with the status register. Remember, the status register is 2 bytes or 16 bits, and we are doing things on the low byte of the status register, which is called the conditional code register. And I is used to clear selected bits of the CCR or set, if you want to say that. So we can clear or set the X, the N, the Z, the V, and the C flags, okay? From the 8 bits that there are in the CCR register, there are only 5, okay? Here, I am showing the full status register, the 16-bit, okay? For those that did the book, know that these bit 8 till 9 are our interrupt level of the 68,000. It has 7 level of interrupts, so 3 bits. Then the S is for supervisor mode, bit 13, and T is for trace mode, bit 15. Now, as an instruction, okay, there's nothing complex. Okay, I'm using the OR. We're coming to the OR. Okay, so here I'm setting the conditional code register, okay, to some value, which means that I will have the Z, V, and C flag set, okay, as you can see. And then I'm switching the V flag off. Okay, that's all there is to it. This one is against not the conditional code register, but against the status register, the full 16 bits. Okay, so it is SR ending with a literal, okay, any immediate value that we have equals SR. It is only a word. We are working with the status register, so it's always a word. There is no byte, there is no long word to it. Description: and the immediate data to the status register and store the result in the status register. All bits of the SR are affected. Application: the instruction is used to clear the interrupt mask. Most of the time, that's why you use it, okay? The S bit and the T bits of the SR. Remember that the value is a word, so it affects not just the high byte of the status register, but also the low byte, which is the conditional code register. So you're affecting both. And again, I have specified the status register flags and all the bits, what they mean. Now, we are trying to clear all the bits in the, now remember, I'm also affecting the interrupts. I'm clearing all the bits in the status register, except for the 0 flag, V flag, and carry flag, okay, the C flag. And you can see that we have already the Z and the C set. Okay, now this instruction as is will not work. There's a reason. To access the status register, you need to be in supervisor mode. So as soon as I tell it to execute it, it's going to exit. Privileged violation. You cannot touch the status register without being in supervisor mode. So I just did it to make you aware of this. If you want to set up or change any interrupts or things like that. you need to be in supervisor mode. And how do you go to supervisor mode? Well, you need to set the bit that says supervisor mode. But we remember we are also in the assembler. So the assembler has got its own interrupt to handle the trace stuff, etc. So it's a protection to itself also, why we get that error. So that was the AND instruction. Let's do the OR instruction. And the OR instruction is everything is a 1 except when we have both zeros, okay? You know this, I am just showing it here in each one, just as a reminder or for completeness more than anything. So it is always destination or source equals destination. Notice that this is against a data register in both cases. I need to update here. The tabulation is not correct, so I'm updating my notes. Okay, so it works with byte, word, and long word. Of course, like in 6502, or the source operation operand to the destination operand, and store the result in the destination location. Okay, the OR instruction is used to set selected bits of the operand. So let's see what it does. We're going to set bits, as you know, in the 6502. So first we clear the registers, then we are moving 1000 into the 0, 10 into the 1, and a long number into the 2. Now we're ORing the 1, the 0, so the 10 with the 1000, so we end up with 1010. And then we OR the long word, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, with what is in the 0, and that leaves us again with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because the bits were already set. So that's OR as using the data register, okay? Remember, it doesn't work with address registers. So OR immediate is the same. It works on an immediate value against a data register, or the immediate value with the destination operand, and store the result in the destination location. The OR instruction is used to set selected bits of the operand, okay, as we all know. And we are going to execute these instructions, the 1000 into the 0 now, and then we OR 10 with the 0, so we are basically having 1010, and then the 2101 with what there is in the 0, which will become 31111. Same thing, but this time in binary to make it, to get you accustomed to the values of how you specify hex and how you specify binary. We have the binary C in hex into the 0. So we move the the binary C, or value of 12 into the 0. Then we OR it with 0010, which becomes, of course, 11110, which is E. And then OR it again with another 1, and we make it an F. So again, and this time we have it against the conditional code register. Again, we have an immediate value against the conditional code register, and we set bits to it. So I'm going to set the 1111, which makes the Z, the V, and the C flag into set into the conditional code register. And as you can see in the debugger, the Z, the V, and the C were set, as you can see here. Same like the AND, we have the OR against the status register. Okay, but of course it needs to be done in supervisor mode. So yeah, you can imagine what's going to happen. Privileged instruction, privilege violation raised. So you cannot execute that instruction as is. You need to go into supervisor mode. But the feature is there. Supervisor mode is only when you're dealing with interrupts, when you will really be using it. So from the OR, we go to the XOR. For those that do not know, the XOR, or exclusive OR, I should have run it. Give me a second. I've showed it like that first. For those that do not know, the exclusive OR is always a 1 when either side has got a 1 and a 0. Okay, when either both are 0 or both 1, it's a 0. It's used for toggling bits, basically. Okay, it's a bit toggler. So again, destination XOR source equals destination. Okay, the syntax is data register against something, against either memory or a value, whatever that is, or another data register. XOR, exclusive OR, the source operand with the destination operand, and store the result in the destination location. Note that the source operand must be a data register. Yeah, the source needs to be a data register, and that the operation XOR EN, the N is not permitted. Did I write it correct, that one? Effective address, Commodore. Of course, you cannot have the effective address as, so yeah, I wrote it correct. So it's a data register against memory, but not vice versa. You can see destination is memory or another data register, as I have here, but you cannot have source as memory. That's what it means. The XOR instruction is used to toggle the state of selected bits in the operand. So now let's execute it. So we're clearing the registers. And now we are moving 1000 into the 0. We are moving 10 into the 1. And we are moving the long word number into the 2. We are XORing the 1 with the 0. So the 1 and the 0. And we'll end up, you notice that the nibble where the 1 is in the 1, okay? And the 1 in the 0, 1 is set to 1 and the other one is set to 0. So of course 1, 0 and 1 is going to give us a 1. And XOR.long, the 2 comma the 0. So the number that we have, the long number that we have in the 2, XORed with what is in the 0, and you will see that it becomes 1 2 3 4 4 6 6 8 8. That's basically it. Same thing we have, and we have already seen it in a way. XOR immediate. It also works on byte word and long word. And notice immediate data against either a data register or memory, not address registers. Okay, no address registers. So we're clearing the 0. We're moving 1000 into the 0 as word. Okay, we are XORing what's in the 0 with the 10, but only the first byte, so it becomes 1010. And then we're XORing with the immediate value word to FFF with what's in the 0, and that makes it, of course, 3FEF. Again, we have the same thing for the conditional code register. Why did I write there? So we are going to XOR 7. So basically we have the lower 3 bits set to the conditional code register. Currently the conditional code register is 0, the lower 3 bits. XORing with 7 is going to set them basically, no? As you can see. And again, we have the same thing with the status register, okay? The notes are practically the same, okay? So I'm not going to read each time the same thing, but notice the immediate value against the status register, and the size is always a word, okay? Like all 3 instructions, like OR, AND, OR, and XOR, okay? So we're also going to get the privileged violation because we are not in supervisor mode. it took me more time to prepare these notes than really going through them right now. So the next one is the not instruction. Okay. So remember, we already did the negate instruction. Okay, the negate instruction is two's complement. The not is not two's complement, is logical complement. So now the difference. Okay, not works against an address or against a data register. Size can be byte, word, or long word, but it doesn't work against address registers. Okay. So what it does is calculate the logical complement of the destination and store the result in the destination. The difference between not and negate, well, I'm saying it here, is that not performs a bit by bit logical complement while negate performs a two's complement. Moreover, neg updates all the bits of the CCR while not clears the V and the C bit, updates the N and Z bits, and doesn't affect the X bit. So there's also a difference in the way they set the flags between them. So the most important thing from this instruction is to remember that not is not two's complement and negate is two's complement. That's the most important bit of all that you need to keep in mind, because the others, even if you try to do it to use it against an address register, don't worry, the assembler will tell you. So it's not an issue there. So we're clearing the registers, the 0 to the 2. We're moving 1000 into the 0, not the 0. Notice how it's going to be complemented, let's say that, which becomes E triple F. Then we move that number into the 1, and notice what's going to happen to the 1 when we do a not. We get the FF ABCDE. So, and notice that the N flag was set also. Okay, so this I will need to explain a bit more. So this is logical shift. Okay, we are shifting bits to the left. So this is like multiplying a number by 2. Okay, now I need to find something. Well, I need to find the notes in the book. In the book that you all know now. Yeah. So I need to switch to the book. So when you're doing logical shift left, I'm going to do both left and right, okay, since I have the picture in front of me. Let's make it bigger. I guess you can all see both pictures, no? So logical shift left. So at 0 enters on this side, whether we have byte, word, or long word, in the least significant bit. okay? And what we have in the most significant bit goes into the carry flag and into the extended bit, okay? On the same thing happens for LSR, so logical shift right, so but the opposite way around. So at 0 enters into the most significant bit, and what exits from the least significant bit goes into the C and the X. Okay, so that's the first part that I need to cover when it comes to the logical shift left or right. Let me jump back to the Amiga. Now I show the diagram because people will get confused which one to use. I mean, there are 6 of them. So there's logical shift left and right. There is arithmetic shift left and right. And there is rotate left and rotate right. You will get confused which one to use and why. And hence why I'm showing the diagram. And probably you will have to use it to look at it more than once. I found these instruction quite good when you have meters on the display. Let's say you have a view meter or something going up and down or left or right. It's very easy to use logical shift in combinations. You have to use combinations of them, especially if you have more than 32 bits. To have a meter going up and down or whatever, or expanding from the middle, growing left or right, etc. They are very handy instructions to have and to use instead of because if a meter is what, 8 pixels, how many pixels can it be? So you're not going to use the splitter for such a thing neither. So yeah, more it's where I mean I use them for more other stuff, but I'm talking in graphic terms where you can also use them, and talking from experience. So we're going to move quick the value 101, of course, into the 0, which is number 5. And we are going to logical shift left. So 5 becomes 10 because it's times 2, as you can see. Now we're going to shift it 4 bits. If you don't specify, it's always 1. You can also do #1, the 0, okay? Like in my notes. But you do not need to specify when it's a 1. However, if it's more than 1, then you need to specify how many bits you want to shift it. And here we are shifting 4 bits. So the A, we are shifting it 4 bits. So it's going to come here where the 0 is. Okay? And as you see, it became 80. I should have gone through this. So let me read what I have there because I might have skipped something. It can be byte, word, or long word. Okay, it works on data registers. Okay, and it works on the immediate to data registers, and it works on memory. It doesn't work on address registers. So most of the time, address registers are not allowed in the 68,000. Well, not really, but when it comes to things related to mathematics, let's say that. So logically shift the bits of the operand in the specified direction left in this case. At 0 is shifted, as I said, into the input position, so the least significant bit. And the bit shifted out is copied into both the C and the X of the CCR. The shift count may be specified, as I said, in one of three ways. Yeah, you can specify the shift in three different ways. The count may be a literal, so you can enter a number. The contents of a data register, so you can use a data register against a data register, or the value 1. Now, the value 1 does not need to be specified. An immediate count permits a shift of 1 to 8 places. Okay, if the count is in a register, the value, so basically you can shift, because like this you can only specify from 1 to 8. Okay, but if you use a data register, you can specify a lot more, and they are in modulo, basically 64 each time. If no count is specified, one shift is made. Okay? So, we see the next instruction, which is the same, but the opposite direction as, which is what I spoke before, LSR. Again, its destination shifted by count number, whatever that count number is coming from, and it goes into destination. You can see LSR, you have data register against data register, an immediate against a data register, and or an address. It can word combined, word or long word, and is the opposite of LSL, where the bits, and I'm repeating here what I said earlier, where the bits enter from the left side, which is at 0, and what exits goes into the C and the X bits. If we execute it, we have that binary value, which is 60. If we shift it to the right, so right, forgot to mention one thing. If left, if is multiplying by 2, right is dividing by 2. So when you shift to the right, you're dividing by 2. So the 60, we're going to divide it, and it becomes 30. If we shift it again by 4 bits, you can see that it will become a 3, because 4 bits is a nibble, and we have 30 there, and we are shifting 4 bits, so the 3 is going to move in the first nibble, as you can see. Guys, you're quiet. No questions? So, arithmetic shift left. Let me find it. So, Glad to hear, Docster. Arithmetic shift left and right, and you start noticing differences. So arithmetic shift left is same as logical shift left, okay, in terms of what it does. You can see the bit enters from the left side, and what exits goes into the C and X. But arithmetic shift right is not the same. Basically, you always get a 1 on the most significant bit, and what exits goes into the C and the X. I said you always get a 1. You always get what was the last bit, what is the most significant bit. So if it's a 0, you always get a 0. If it's a 1, you always get a 1. So small correction there. And that is ASR. So let's jump to the Amiga. Do I have SL? Okay. So arithmetic shift left. Okay. So destination shifted by count, same as logical shift left. Again, data register, source against data register, immediate data against data register, or an address register and memory location, sorry. Size is byte, word, or long word. Arithmetically shift the bits of the operand in the specified direction, in this case is left. The shift count may be specified in one of the 3 ways. The count may be a literal, the contents of the data register, or the value 1. An immediate literal count permits a shift of 1 to 8 places. If the count is in a register, the value is modulo 64, so from 0 to 63. If no count is specified, one shift is made. The effect of arithmetic shift left is to shift a 0 into the least significant bit position and to shift the most significant bit out into both the X and C bits of the CCR. The overflow bit, so this is where they are different, okay? The setting of the flags. The overflow bit of the CCR is set if a sign exchange occurs during shifting. As ASL multiplies a 2's complement, and here is the other thing, what is different from LSL, because this does 2's complement of a number. ASL is almost identical to the corresponding logical shift, LSR. The only difference between ASL and LSL is that ASL sets the V flag of the CCR if overflow occurs, while LSL clears the V flag to 0. So there's also this difference. Hence, they both have the importance. Motorola was not crazy when they came up with these 2 instructions. The X bit and the C bit are set accordingly according to the last bit shifted out of the operand. If the shift count is 0, the C bit is cleared. The V bit is set if the most significant bit is changed at any time during the shift operation and cleared otherwise. So let's see it. So 101 is 5. ASL byte on the 0 will make it 10, and then ASL byte again times 4 will make it 80, no? And notice the V flag, the negative and V flag are set because we are using 2's complement and we worked on a byte. So we were working on the byte, so the left significant bit, okay, is set in this case because we have 80, so it's higher than 80, no, or 7F. So it's a negative number. And we have the same thing for ASR. So why did I execute it first? ASR, as I said, is different than LSR. Remember what happens on the most significant bit. So first of all, destination is shifted by count to destination. Okay, same thing. We have data register against the data register, immediate value against the data register, and against memory. So you choose which one you want. Sizes are byte word and long word, same as previous. Arithmetically shift the bits of the operand in the specified direction, and in this case it's right. The shift count may be specified in one of the 3 ways. Like the others, the count may be a literal, the contents of a data register, or a value 1. An immediate, so a literal or immediate value count permits a shift of 1 to 8 places. If the count is in a register, so if you use a data register, the values is modulo 64, so basically you can specify from 0 to 63. If no count is specified, one shift is made. So same like previous. The effect of an arithmetic shift right is to shift the least significant bit into both the X and C bits of the CCR. The most significant bit or the sign bit is replicated. That's why I said that if it's a 1, it continues to be replicated. If it's a 0, it continues to be replicated to preserve the sign of the number. An ASR divides a 2's complement number by 2. Okay, so it's always the same. To the left is times, to the right is division when we are shifting bits. When applied to the contents of a memory location, all 68,000 shift operations operate on a word. So you can only use a word on a memory location. The X bit and the C bit are set according to the last bit shifted out of the operand. If the shift count is 0, the C bit is cleared. So this is where things are different than the logical shift. Okay, remember this is called arithmetic shift. And why arithmetic shift? Because it handles 2's complement. The V bit is set if the most significant bit is changed at any time during the shift operation and cleared otherwise. So let's run it. We are moving 50 into the 0. We're going to shift it to the right. So we get 28. And then we shift the 28 to the 4 bits to the right. So the 8 is going to vanish, or the last bit is going to go into the carry flag. And we end up with 2. Hello, Proton. The rotate instruction. But before we go there, I need to find the instruction. So rotate left and rotate right. Okay. Notice that for rotate left, what exits on the most significant bit from the right side goes back to the left side, and that same value is also copied to the carry flag. For rotate right, what exits from the left side goes into the carry flag, but also goes to the most significant bit as per diagram there. So so rotate left, you can have data register against data register, immediate against data register, or against memory. Sizes are byte, word, and long word. Description: rotate the bits of the operand in the direction indicated. The extended bit X is not included in the operation. So this is different from the other two that we mentioned, the logical and arithmetic shift operations. A rotate operation is circular in the sense that the bit shifted out at the end is shifted into the other end. That is, no bits are lost or destroyed by a rotate operation. The bit shifted out is also copied into the C bit of the CCR, but not into the X bit, as mentioned earlier. The shift count may be specified in one of the 3 ways, the usual way, The count may be a literal, the contents of a data register, or if the value 1. An immediate count permits a shift of 1 to 8 places. If the count is a register, so if you use a data register, the value can be modulo of 64, so allowing a range of 0 to 63. If no count is specified, the word if no count is specified, of course, then it's a 1. The word that the effective address is rotated by 1 place. So we have 60, 50, sorry, I said 60. So I have a typo there in my comments. So I'm going to correct it. Then we rotate left what we have in the 0, so it become 80, and then we rotate left by 4, so it's going to become OA. It's simple, no? I mean, there's not much to these instructions. So rotate right. So rotate right. Remember, the X bit is not used, so that's why rotate right without extended. So the operation is always destination rotated by count equals destination, so that's how it happens. So we have either rotate right against data register, or immediate value against data register, or an address. Attributes, so size is byte, word, and long word. Rotate the bits of the operand in the direction indicated. The extended bit is not included in the operation. A rotate operation is circular in the sense that the bit shifted out at one end is shifted into the other end. That is, so what goes out comes in again, okay? That is, no bit is lost or destroyed by a rotate operation. The bit shifted out is also copied into the C bit of the CCR, but not into the X bit. The shift count may be specified into 3 ways, the usual things that all the logical shift operations have. The count may be a literal, so you can specify a value, the contents of a data register, or the value 1, or you can ignore the value 1, no? An immediate count permits a shift of 1 to 8, so you can specify 1 to 8 maximum, or you use a data register to specify 0 to 63. If no count is specified, the word at an effective address is rotated by one place. So if you don't specify the length, then 1 is assumed. So we're moving 18 into the 0, okay? We are going to shift it to the right, so it becomes OC, and then shift it again to the right, always working on bytes, okay? And it becomes CO. Notice I'm going to shift it 4 bits and I'm working on a byte. So what the low nibble, I am transferring it to the high nibble, okay, of the byte. So it becomes CO. And that's basically it to this instruction. Anyway, guys, thank you very much and cheers. Bye bye.